Today I'm wearing my It's Not a Dad Bod, It's a Father Figure t-shirt because according to Randy Weingarten, the president of the Teachers Union, parents are going to war. Hello everyone, this is Keith. Welcome to the Ghetto Sapien channel. Today's morning brief is going to be about Randy Weingarten. She is the president of the Teachers Union, and she is really upset, and I guess a lot of teachers, and mostly the left, they're upset with Ron DeSantis signing into law the Parental Parents Protection Law. And basically all it really says is that teachers can have secret conversations about sex with underage children. Why that has to be a law in the first place is kind of frightening, but the fact that there it is, it's very interesting how it has brought out a lot of people where you can see the kind of creepiness the creepy relationship that some of these teachers want to have with your children. And it's exposed, I think, a lot of the left's more diabolical instincts. Let's get right into it since we're trying to do this morning brief. Here's the article. Randy Weingarten, it's a New York Post, by the way. Randy Weingarten says parental rights bills are a way wars start. Okay. National Teachers Union boss Randy Weingarten recently likened encouraging parents to get involved in how their kids are being taught to fighting words. Let me read that again because it kind of came out goofy. National Teachers Union boss Randy Weingarten recently likened encouraging parents to get involved in how their kids are being taught to fighting words, saying it's the way wars start. Randy Weingarten told radio host Rick Smith in a podcast early this month that conservative polls pushing for more input in curriculum and textbooks are whipping up parents to hate teachers and public education. Now, okay, a lot to unpack there. I can't get into too many details, but she's crazy. If parents want to have more input in how the children are educated, how's that an act of war? How's that a war? Well, yeah, actually, she might be right. It could start a war if you're crazy enough to think that parents are going to put up with that they can't have a say in what topics are taught to their children. That's how you start a war. It's the resistance to something as natural as parents being concerned about their children's education is where the war is going to start. My guess is, or what do you think? Do you think that Randy Weingarten has children? I bet you she doesn't. Well, I looked it up. She doesn't have any kids. That's kind of odd to have such a strong opinion about about the rights of parents when you don't have kids yourself and you don't understand the bond between parent and child and how deep it goes. It's really hard to explain to someone who doesn't have children the bond, how your life changes when you have children. But when I was single, my decisions could be made like a sports car. I mean, I could just change on a dime. I didn't have to worry about what's on the road ahead of me because it's just me. When I got married, it slowed up a little, but still just the two of us, and I could make a change on a dime. It didn't matter. The minute you got baby on board, literally, your decisions have to take you have to see much further out into the future. It's like, it's the difference between being single and then married with children when it comes to decisions. It's like going from a sports car to like an oil tanker. Every little change, you have to look way out into the future and predict and project how is it gonna affect the direction of the entire ship. I can't buy a motorcycle because something happens to me that I'm not there to take care of my children, things like that. So they take on a much broader and deeper. You have to have a much broader and deeper view when you make these decisions as a parent. I remember when, and also there's a difference between how men bond and how women bond to their children. I think when women bond to their children, the baby's developing in them, and it's more of like a rheostat switch. It just, it gradually turns on. It's like turning on your oven or a gas stove. It just turns on gradually, and it gets hotter and hotter. With fathers, me as a father, it just went from kind of mild to boom once the child's born. Your whole world changes. I remember when I first saw my son, he was my firstborn, you could just feel everything just tilt like whoop. It just kind of changes, and your worldview is never the same. When I held my son and looked at him, all of a sudden you start seeing sharp edges everywhere. You start looking at electrical outlets that you never noticed before. The ground feels extra hard. Your instinct as a parent just really kicks in. And again, your life changes forever. I remember, and you're really leery about adults all of a sudden who are outside of the family. But, this can actually happen within the family too. When my son was very young, he's probably about 5 or 6 years old, the pastor of my church wanted my son to come over and spend the night with his daughter. And I said, you think if he's a pastor, okay, it should be safe, right? So I'm still a young parent. I was like, I'll think about it. And dude insisted more than once. I'm sorry, as an adult, I think it's kind of weird that you want to hang out with someone's kid, especially a guy. I have a lot of affection for my children. I have a general overall protective instinct for other kids. I wouldn't want to see a kid run out into the street. I'd grab them, stuff like that. But overall, when you show intense interest in someone's kid, it gets a little creepy to parents. So when he asked him, I think 2 more times, he's like, yeah, you're never seeing my kid over at your house, because it creeped me out. And that's, I guess, how adults are looking at these teachers who are insisting on speaking to their children about subjects that are best left to the parent. Kids aren't even really curious about sex when they're 5, 6, 7, 8 years. They don't know what the hell it is. Their hormones haven't kicked in. Those conversations, sex-based conversations, will almost always be initiated by the adult. Kids don't know and don't care. So that's why it's really creepy. And I think, it's an anti-groomer bill, because the groomers are coming out of the woodwork. I think what the teachers should worry about is this. This is what they need to be concerned about. Look at Detroit Baltimore, for example, how poorly they're doing, way below average scores in math. It's terrible. They're not proficient. I mean, the majority of these young people are not proficient in math. That, in my estimation, is what should be the top concern of people like Randy Weingarten, and not whether our kids believe in multiple genders or think that 2 men and 2 women are an equivalent of a traditional marriage or traditional relationships. They need to stop, because they don't really want a war against parents, because I guarantee you're gonna lose. And hopefully you just lose at the polls and it doesn't go further than that. Well, that's my take on this. What's yours? Like, share, comment, and subscribe.